Hello everybody, welcome to BuildFlyGo. So this is the annual condition inspection that I have to do every year, annual, on 9 Romeo Victor. Every aircraft has to do something like this. In this case, I do it because I'm the manufacturer, I'm the builder, so I get to do the annual condition inspection. Most certified aircraft have to go to a certified mechanic and they do it and sign off on it. But one of the benefits of being the builder is I know everything about this plane. So I'm taking out the interior. I like to take a picture of where all the little Velcro dots are so I can put them back in the same place. Because otherwise the carpeting doesn't sit just right. So I always take a picture. And do a couple of upgrades. I'm also replacing the ADS-B in unit right now. And I replaced the tail light. My tail light had yellowed and was having some issues. So Fly LED Paul very graciously just sent me a replacement. I kept telling him about that. We'll sort it out later. He just mailed me one. I was like, great, thanks, Paul. That's really nice. So I replaced that, and it looks great. You'll also notice that I got a little, it seemed, maybe you saw me getting a little baffled there when I pushed the plane in. I managed to put a big dent and crack in the wheel pant, in the nose wheel pant, when I pushed it in. So one more thing to repair. But this is day one. Day one is basically disassembling interior and minor changes. All right. So day two, this is Sunday, full days. Mary was able to come out and help, so we jacked up the airplane and we're disassembling the wheel pants and all of the fairings. Need to get everything cleaned up and check brake pads, check tire wear. We have to grease all of the axles and make sure everything looks good. And you'll notice that I am going to need a couple of new tires. The brake pads are getting really close. The left-hand side one definitely needed to be replaced, and for the brake pads, the discs are fine. Yeah, there you go. A couple of bald spots on those tires. The discs looked fine, but as I needed to replace tires anyway, and at least one side of the brake pads. You don't do only one side, you have to do both, and that's fine. So I did both sides of brake pads and both main tires. I'm adding to the list for the winter service. I do a summer and a winter service. The winter service, I'm going to be pulling out the pistons and the calipers and resealing them and cleaning them up. And they looked like they were starting to get a little dirty in there. So time to take care of that this winter. But okay, we're going to take a quick break, quick coffee break here, because we discovered some damage in the baffles. These are it's a fairly common thing to happen in RVs, and unfortunately it happened to us. See the big crack there, vertically running up the baffle? Yeah, that's going to be a lot of work. Alrighty. So day 3, Monday, was all about disassembling that and getting those baffle pieces out and getting the oil cooler off of the back of the baffle, cleaning everything up. So a few hours of just carefully taking that apart, getting it inspected, and as you can see, big crack. Yep. And so I talked to Vans on the phone, and they suggested a piece of angle there to strengthen everything up, and of course cutting off the chunk. You don't usually get to inspect that part of the engine, but here we go. So the part is off and getting repaired. Tuesday, doing a couple of videos. You'll see there's a video coming up on the engine and why we made those choices. And I'm also inspecting the rest of the engine and getting the spark plugs out and cleaning things up. I'm also test fitting the part that I made to fix the baffle issue, and I will be sending that part off to get Cerakoted. I have a shop in town or near town that I use, Kranz Powder Coating Services. that has done fantastic work for us. All the powder coating and Cerakoting in the airplane was done by him. And so I just dropped the part off to have him Cerakote it, and hope to have that back in the next few days, hopefully. Oil is draining. You'll notice that I didn't run the engine up before draining the oil. I figured I have days to drain this oil, so I don't really need it to be warm to drain. Usually it takes a long time to drain if you don't warm up the engine, but not in a hurry. You'll see that I had a big checklist. I'll post, I think I should post the link to the checklist, and I'm just slowly going through it. But yeah, progress as we keep going. So the mags are off at this point. All of that inspection is done. We're putzing around with the oil cooler and the brackets over there and making sure everything is in the right place. I'm putting the right mag back in place. The service is done on both of them, putting the right mag in place, but leaving the left one still out. One of the big things that we're gonna do, yeah, I'm doing the, I finished cleaning the fuel filters at this point, and I'm putting back the, you can see I'm putting back the air intake filter. I have two air intake filters, and I swap them year to year so that I don't spend a bunch of time I don't want to cleaning a nasty, dirty filter. And torquing everything, putting everything back in place, and that should be it for today. So Saturday, long day, day 7. So one of the big things that we're doing at this condition inspection is I'm adding a fuel engine-mounted fuel pump cooling shroud, which basically directs high-pressure air from the top of the engine down over the engine-mounted high-pressure fuel pump. This just keeps fuel a little cooler, especially on a hot day. It will help us a little bit. You'll also notice that the spinner is off. We have to do the prop service on the airplane. This ground adjustable prop, it's a Whirlwind ground adjustable prop. Once a year, you have to take it apart, take the blades off, take the hub apart, and inspect everything, make sure there's no cracks, no corrosion, nothing like that. And then when you put it back together, you have to repitch the blades, which takes a little bit. So the whole thing takes a couple of hours, I want to say. But the thing that's taking us the absolute longest here is working on that fuel pump shroud. I decided to modify an existing one so that I wouldn't have to remove the fuel pump from the engine, because I heard removing the fuel pump from the engine is a nightmare. Yeah, it turns out modifying something that just works is also a nightmare. This probably took us 4 hours to get this to fit by just putting it on, taking it off a dozen times to modify the little pieces that I made to save us time. It didn't. I recommend for someone doing this in the future, just remove the damn fuel pump. It sounds like a nightmare, but it'll be faster than putzing with it. Took us most of the day, but we finally managed to do it. And once we did that, we put the other magneto on. I think, no, it's still sitting on the bench there. We'll put the other magneto on, and here we go. We're starting to take that prop apart. And, oh, yep, there it's gone. The blades are on the chair on the right there. We inspect each blade and then put it back together, inspect the hub, putting it back together, and repitch it. And that's pretty much it for the day. Big day. Okay, day 8, Sunday. At this point, we're almost done. We're just finishing up all the remaining things. I'm putting spark plugs back in. Um, I'm just checking every little cable, bolt, wire, everything on the engine, on the aircraft, mostly on the engine because we did the airframe before. On the engine at this point, cleaning everything, making sure there's no little drops of oil or anything like that that are going to make a mess. Yeah, and yeah, that's really it. At this point, we're going to just close up. Oh, there's Shane. Just start closing up. We're waiting for the part to get Cerakoted. Unfortunately, that takes a few days for it to cure, so we're going to have a couple of days off in the coming week, but almost done. Here we go, Tuesday. The part is in. It's not totally cured. It gets the final cure date is tomorrow, Wednesday. So I'm at this point putting the interior back together. The inside of the airplane is done. Everything is inspected, lubricated, torqued, checked, etc. Firmware updates are done. I'm sorry, actually database updates. There were no firmware updates. And so here we are on Wednesday, and going over riveting that part. It's sort of a tight spot. It's not when we originally made these baffles. The baffles were off the airplane, of course, so it was a lot easier to rivet things together, and it's a little different when it's installed, right? And we're trying to minimize the amount of disassembly that we have to do. Of course, there's going to be some, but yeah, it actually went together pretty well. It fits pretty nicely. You can see Mary there. She came in to help and is working late. She's actually working most of the day, and every so often she'll just jump in and give us a hand. But yeah, as you can see, almost done. So now closing up, getting everything ready, every little last bit. Had a visitor, and doing a run up now, as you can see, making sure there's no oil leaks, making sure the mags are working as expected, right? We retime them every time around, and now you can see I'm doing a compression check. So compression on all 4 cylinders were 78 over 80. I think there was one that was 77 over 80. I believe the guideline is anything over 60 is considered good. 78 over 80 is considered new, effectively. 600 hours on the airplane. Pretty good. And here we are Friday. We're done. Just paperwork. We're cleaning the cowling now so that we can reinstall it. We'll reinstall the cowl. I believe I reinstalled the wheel pants already. And then I'm going to do a bunch of paperwork, and then we're going to go fly. We flew all the way up to the Door County area, then south towards Monroe, get some fuel, and that was that. Thanks for watching.